Casual here. Welcome to my latest build guide, and this is my favourite one so far. Firepower builds are very common and have been done to death, but not like this. This build will allow you to shred enemies, hit crits with every shot even on a console, complete gold CT-15 expeditions across the board, yet not be a glass cannon build. Not possible? Well, I look forward to showing you how this build works. I will put up a summary of the build at the end of the video. Use the chapters to jump to the sections you are most interested in. Let's get into it. The class tree I'm using is pretty standard for a firepower build with just a couple of small tweaks. I haven't taken the second nitrogen capsules because I play on an Xbox and I'm not gifted with superhuman aiming, so most of the time enemies are going to be in close range, no matter how much I reduce long range. This is the first time with a firepower build I've been able to take two sides to the power without dying within seconds from a performer's gentle slap to my face, or any enemy to be honest. While blur screen and anomalous body do help to offset the extra damage you take from this ability, it is my skills, gear and mods that I'm using that transform me into a literal god. Well, maybe not that, but at least I'm able to survive a few hits. You might not have spotted it, but Fixing Wave was buffed significantly in the last patch, increasing self-healing from 33% to 66% of maximum health, and so I'm running it in my build. My other skills are pretty standard. Blighted Rounds are of course a must, as is Blighted Turret to trigger the weapon damage buff from Empowering Antenna. One of the other buffs that came in the last patch was the increase to health on armour. I was very sceptical about this, let's be honest. Extra health was always a little bit lackluster compared to damage mitigation through mods, and takes up a valuable firepower or anomaly power slot. Taking two pieces of armour with health on boosts my maximum health to nearly 30,000, and what I found was that this synergizes incredibly well with Fixing Wave, which now heals me for nearly 20,000 health. On top of that, blur screen increases my health regeneration by 20% of my maximum health, boosting the threshold up to nearly 18,000 health, which is nearly as much as full health for many builds. This is all great for survivability, but what about damage? Because of my high health and healing, I can run just one damage mitigation mod, and slot an extra damage mod which more than offsets the firepower I'm losing from wearing armour with health. Let's have a closer look at the gear mods I'm running. This build is built around one mod, and it's not the overused Dark Sacrifice mod that every build seems to use these days. Hitting crits on a console can be challenging at times, particularly when an alpha wants to give you a big cuddle. Embalmer's Rage, which drops from high roller, makes it easy though. For 5 seconds after every kill, all your shots will be critical hits, dealing massive damage. I'm buffing this critical damage even more with Kingslayer and Plate Piercer, as well as the standard firepower mods Sharp Eye and Bloodlust, which synergize incredibly well with this setup. The rest of the mods I'm taking are pretty standard for a Blighted Rounds build. Radical Therapy and Euthanizer buff damage to enemies afflicted with Toxic. Captain Hunter buffs damage to elites, while Toxic Lead and Spare Mag help me keep Blighted Rounds up even when enemies refuse to go down. My one damage mitigation mod is Damage Absorber, which gets my overall physical damage reduction to a healthy 67%. The great news with this build is that you have a ton of options to maximise the impact of Embalmer's Rage. Crit Stack and Critical Analysis are nice damage buffs, or Force is a nice team buff. Ready for Anything adds to your self-healing, and if you want to layer in status effects, you could pick up Ash Cleaner, Vein Ripper or Reforging Bullets. With this build I also wanted to do something different. I actually wanted a build that looked good, and so I went with 3 pieces of the Plague Sower gear set and an epic chest piece that fits with this set. Not only is the helmet of this set awesome looking, the 3-piece set bonus synergizes well with the build, adding damage mitigation every time I apply Toxic. In terms of stats, the build focuses on firepower, long and close range damage, and 2 max health. The gear I am running isn't in any way optimised for this build. Close and long range damage are the best secondary stats for firepower builds, albeit you can add in healing stats to help with survivability. For my weapons I've gone with Amber Volt that allows me to combine Embalmer's Rage with Killing Spree, and a tactical assault rifle with Gravedigger's Frenzy on it. Both of these weapons work well, but there are plenty of other options you could go with. Inferno Seed has some nice synergy and hits like a truck. Twisted Mercy could be an interesting one to run as well, a gun that hits hard and with this build has almost unlimited ammo. There are also a number of mods that you could use here: Pinball, Ultimate Anomaly Surge, Legendary Minefield and Deadly Disturbance, to name just a few. This is a great build for solo and team play in the endgame. It puts out a ton of damage, has good survivability and is great for console players like me. I run gold CT15s now on most of the expeditions with this build, weaving small enemies with elite bosses to keep the Embalmer's Rage up at all times, and you should have no problem at all. If you are still struggling with survivability, swap in Perseverance Shield for one of your damage dealing mods, or drop 2 sides of the power for extra armor or resistance. If you are looking for a budget version of the Firepower build, then do check out my build guide on this channel. Until next time, casual out.